Feeling useless. After 70, this is what nobody told you. Have you ever woken up one morning, made your cup of coffee, sat in your favorite chair, and suddenly felt like the world no longer needed you? You spent decades working hard, raising a family, showing up for everyone else. And now, the house is quiet. The phone doesn't ring as often. The calendar is empty. And there's this quiet question that lingers in the back of your mind. Am I still useful? Does anyone still need me? If you've ever felt this way, you're not alone, and you're certainly not broken. What you're feeling is something nobody prepared us for, the emotional side of aging. People talk about retirement plans, medications, social security, but nobody talks about that quiet ache in the heart when you feel like your purpose has faded. Nobody tells you that after 70, it's not just about staying alive, it's about staying seen, heard, and valued. In this video, I'm going to share the truth nobody told you, and 6 deeply powerful ways to rediscover your sense of purpose after 70. Whether you've lost your spark, your routine, or simply your role in the world, what I'm about to show you can change the way you see this next chapter of your life. Because your story isn't over. In fact, the most meaningful pages might be the ones you haven't written yet. Sign number 1, you don't feel needed anymore. And that quietly destroys your sense of purpose. There comes a time, often sometime after 70, when a strange silence begins to settle over your life. At first, it's subtle. Your phone rings less. No one asks you to babysit the grandkids like they used to. Your adult children don't lean on you for advice anymore, at least not the way they once did. Your spouse may be gone, or perhaps they're still with you, but tired, distant, preoccupied with their own aches and routines. You sit at the breakfast table, toast cooling beside your tea, and realize no one needs anything from you today. And here's the hard truth no one told us about growing older. It's not the wrinkles or the slower steps that hurt the most. It's the feeling of becoming invisible. You spent decades being the center of someone's world, a parent, a spouse, a friend, a coworker. You were the one people called when they needed help, the one who solved problems, gave hugs, held things together when life got messy. You mattered, and now you're still here, still breathing, still wise, but you start to wonder, what am I here for now? This feeling of being unneeded doesn't scream. It whispers. It shows up in small ways. You stop planning things because no one seems interested. You stop sharing your opinion because you think, who's listening? You scroll past pictures of family gatherings you weren't invited to. You laugh less, dream less, expect less. And eventually, the days start to blur together. You tell yourself it's just getting older. But deep down you know, you're not sad because life is ending. You're sad because you don't feel like you're living. Let me say this clearly. Just because you're no longer needed in the same way, doesn't mean you have no purpose. The world may not call on you like it once did, but that's only because the world has forgotten how powerful you still are. Think of it like this. When you were younger, your purpose was clear. Raise the kids, build a life, show up every day and get things done. But now, purpose takes a new shape. It's no longer about being busy. It's about being meaningful. I once met a gentleman named Raymond. He was 82, a retired mechanic. His children lived out of state. His wife had passed 5 years earlier. He told me, "Every morning I wake up and ask myself, what now?" Then one day, while fixing a neighbor's old bicycle, a teenager passing by asked him for help with his lawnmower. Raymond fixed it in minutes. The boy's face lit up. Word spread. Soon, kids from the neighborhood were showing up with broken skateboards, flat tires, loose doorknobs, and something shifted. Raymond wasn't just the old man on the corner anymore. He became the fixer, the wise one, the mentor. And when I asked him later how he felt, he smiled and said, "I feel like I'm useful again, like I have a reason to wake up." That's the secret no one tells you. Purpose isn't something we lose with age. It's something we must rediscover. Maybe you're not raising children now, but you can still raise spirits. Maybe you're not building a business, but you can build connection. Maybe you're not needed the same way, but there is someone out there who needs your presence, your patience, your story. It could be a lonely neighbor, a struggling caregiver, a young person trying to find their way. You don't need a big audience, just one person to remind you that you matter. And if you're still here reading this, I want to ask you, have you felt this invisible ache of not being needed? What helped you, or what could help you, feel that spark of purpose again? Drop a comment below and let your voice be heard. Because sometimes, your story is exactly what someone else needs to hear to keep going. And as we continue, I want you to stay with me, because in sign number 2, we'll explore the next powerful truth. Even if you feel empty now, you still have the ability to light someone else's life. And in doing so, you'll reignite your own. Shall we? Sign number 2. You still have the power to uplift someone. And that power can bring you back to life after 70, when the world seems to grow quieter around you. It's easy to assume you have nothing left to give. You might look around and think, I'm not working anymore. I don't have a house full of kids to raise. I don't have the energy I once had. So what could I possibly offer anyone? But here's what nobody tells you. Even in the quietest season of your life, your words, your presence, your story, they still carry power. And not just any power. The power to change someone's day, reshape someone's mindset, or even heal someone's heart. Let's take a step back. Think about a time in your life when you were at your lowest. Maybe it was after losing someone. Maybe it was a hard diagnosis, a financial hit, or simply waking up and wondering what the point was anymore. Now, think about what pulled you through it. Was it a grand event? Probably not. More likely, it was something small. A kind word, a friend's unexpected phone call, a stranger's compliment, someone reminding you, even if just for a moment, that you matter. Here's the truth that so many people forget as they age. You still have that power to do the same for someone else. And you don't need a big stage to do it. It could be the simple act of sending a heartfelt card to someone who's grieving, leaving a kind comment on a video like this one, telling another senior you're not alone, sitting on a park bench and smiling at a young mom who clearly hasn't slept in days, volunteering an hour a week to read with a child who has no grandparents around, or even just sharing your story, the parts that were hard, messy, and real, because someone out there needs to know they're not the only one struggling. You might think, but I'm not special. And I'm here to tell you, you are. Your life, your voice, your experience, they're irreplaceable. You've lived through things that younger people are only just now starting to face. You've survived heartbreaks, recessions, wars, death, doubt, and still, you're here. That's not weakness, That's wisdom. And wisdom, when shared, becomes hope for someone else. I once met a woman named Eliza. She was 81, widowed, and used to sit on her porch every day, quiet, still, withdrawn. Until one afternoon, a college student walked by crying. Eliza simply asked, "Would you like some tea?" That one cup of tea turned into a weekly ritual. The student later said, "Eliza didn't fix my problems, but she gave me peace when I had none, and that saved me." Can you imagine? A simple question, "Would you like some tea?" changed a young person's life. And more than that, it brought Eliza back to life too. Because when she started giving again, she started healing. That's the gift of this season. You don't need to run marathons or host dinner parties to feel alive. You just need to touch someone else's life, gently, honestly, quietly. And here's the miracle. Every time you give someone else a reason to smile, you remind your own soul why it's still here. So if you've been feeling lost, invisible, or like you have no role left to play, let me challenge you. Drop a comment right now and tell me, what's one small act of kindness you've received that meant the world to you? Or better yet, what's one way you plan to lift someone else up this week? Because this community, right here, we are proof that life doesn't end at 70. It begins again, in deeper, quieter, more meaningful ways. And speaking of meaning, in sign number 3, we're going to explore a surprising ability that most people ignore. But if you still have it, it's one of the strongest signs that your brain, heart, and body are still deeply alive. Stick with me. The next one might just surprise you. Sign number 3. You still remember names, faces, and conversations. And that's a superpower. Let's pause for a moment and ask something simple. Do you still remember what your neighbor said to you yesterday? Or your granddaughter's birthday? Or the last book you read and how it made you feel? If you do, you might not realize this, but you are carrying a rare and powerful gift. In a world that moves fast, forgets easily, and glorifies youth, the ability to remember is becoming more and more sacred. And for those of us over 70, it's more than memory. It's proof that your mind is still strong, still engaged, still part of the moment, not lost in the past, and not fading into the background. Too many people assume that memory loss is just part of aging, that forgetting names or getting a little confused is inevitable. And yes, some cognitive decline can happen with time. But here's the truth no one says out loud. Not everyone loses their sharpness. In fact, if you're between 65 and 80 and can still follow a conversation without losing track, recall events from earlier in the week, remember birthdays, appointments, or grocery lists without notes, recognize faces and connect them to names, you're not just doing okay. You are a mental athlete. And this ability is one of the strongest predictors of longevity and emotional wellness. Let me tell you about Henry. He's 82, lives alone in Arizona, and still remembers every detail of his grandkids' schedules, from piano lessons to soccer games. One day, when asked how he keeps his mind sharp, he smiled and said, "I never stopped paying attention. That's the secret." That hit me hard, because it's true. When you continue to engage, to listen, to stay curious, your brain stays alive. Your memory doesn't fade because you refuse to fade. You remain part of the story. And there's something deeper too. Memory is what connects us to who we are. When you recall the laughter at your 40th wedding anniversary, or the smell of your mother's kitchen, or the sound of your favorite song playing at your high school prom. That's not just nostalgia. That's proof you're still here, that your life has been rich, vibrant, full, and still is. Now, maybe you've had moments where you forgot why you walked into a room, or you've misplaced your glasses for the third time that day. That's normal. It happens to all of us, even in our 30s. What matters more is this: can you still tell a good story? Can you still comfort someone with your wisdom? Can you still remember the things that make life worth living? If the answer is yes, you are doing better than you think, and you have something worth celebrating. So here's your challenge. In the comments below, share one memory from your life that makes you proud. Maybe it's the moment your child was born. Maybe it's a journey you took across the country, or the day you stood up for yourself for the very first time. Whatever it is, tell us. Because your story could inspire someone else who's struggling to remember why their life matters. And if you're finding this video helpful so far, take a second to type "I remember" in the comments. Because you do. And what you remember might just be the light someone else needs right now. Now in sign number 4, we're going to shift from the mind to the body. And I'm going to ask you one simple but powerful question. Can you still get down on the floor and back up without help? You might think it's a small thing, but it says everything about your independence and your future. Stay with me. You won't want to miss this one. Sign number 4. You can get down on the floor and back up without help. That means more than you think. It might seem like a small thing, but the ability to get down on the floor, and more importantly, get back up, is one of the clearest signs that you are aging with strength, resilience, and grace. Because let's face it, most people don't think about the floor until they're afraid of it. Afraid they might not get back up. Afraid it will hurt. Afraid it will remind them of how much they've lost. But if you, right now, at 65, 70, 75, can still lower yourself down to the ground, tie your shoes, play with your grandchild, or reach for something under the couch, and then rise back up without assistance, you are not average. You are exceptional. This ability says more about your body than any test or number ever could. It means your leg and core muscles are still working in harmony. Your balance is still intact. Your flexibility hasn't faded away. Your joints are still responsive. And, most importantly, your independence is still your own. Let me tell you about Lorraine. She's 79, a retired school librarian living in Oregon. One day, her daughter found her sitting on the living room floor, playing trains with her 4-year-old grandson, laughing, unbothered. "What if you couldn't get back up?" her daughter asked. Lorraine just smiled and said, "That's why I practice." And she does. Every morning, she does a 5-minute routine. A stretch, a deep squat, a kneel, and a full get-up. Nothing fancy. But that's what keeps her moving like she's 20 years younger. You don't stop getting up because you're old. You get old when you stop getting up. And here's something most people don't realize. The moment you stop using this ability, your body begins to forget how. And once it's gone, it's hard to get back. But if you still have it, protect it, nurture it, celebrate it. Because getting down and back up is not just physical, it's a symbol. It means you can recover from life's stumbles. You can meet your grandchildren eye to eye. You are not confined to chairs and caution signs. You still live with freedom in your body. No. Here's a small challenge for today. Try this at home, safely. Stand near a chair or counter. Lower yourself to the floor, take your time, and then get back up without using your hands too much. How did it feel? If it felt natural, I want you to write in the comments, "I can still get up." Let's flood this video with hope and strength. And if you struggled, that's okay. This is not about perfection. It's about progress. And progress is always possible, even after 70. You can rebuild strength. You can regain mobility. Start small. A few leg raises, gentle squats holding on to the kitchen counter. Each day you move is a vote for your future. Because being able to get back up means more than avoiding injury. It means you still own your body. You still own your freedom. Now in sign number 5, we move from mobility to strength. And not the kind that shows in the mirror, but the kind that carries your life every day. Can you still carry a full grocery bag without struggling? It may sound simple, but it reveals a truth about your future you can't ignore. Stay with me. Final thoughts, if you've made it this far, I want you to take a deep breath and feel proud. Because the very fact that you're still here, still watching, still learning, still caring about how to live fully after 70, that means something. It means you're not done yet. You see, the world often tells older adults to step aside, to slow down, to fade into the background. But let me remind you of something. Your worth is not defined by your paycheck. Your purpose is not defined by your productivity, and your value does not expire with age. In fact, your story, your experience, your wisdom, they're more needed now than ever before. Yes, you may have moments of feeling useless, moments when the silence feels heavier than it should, when the phone doesn't ring, when you wonder, what am I still doing here? But don't let that moment define you, because inside of you, there is still life, still power, still purpose. Maybe that purpose is to mentor someone younger, to volunteer, to write the story you've always meant to write, to grow a garden, to forgive, to laugh more. Or maybe it's simply to live well, for your own joy, and no one else's permission. You are not here by accident, and it's never too late to start feeling alive again. So I want to ask you something from the heart. What gives your life meaning today? Leave a comment below. Your story might just inspire someone else who's feeling the same. And if today's video touched you, gave you even one reason to feel a little more seen, a little more hopeful, type "I'm still here" and "I matter" in the comments. Let's remind each other that we're not alone. Please like this video if it meant something to you. Share it with a friend who might need to hear this. And don't forget to subscribe, because we're building a space where growing older means growing deeper, not disappearing. Thank you for watching. And until next time, stay strong, stay curious, and never stop believing in the value of your own life.